Non-binary elephant podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Non-Binary Elephant podcast. I'm Jamie Icke, coming to you from the Acapulco Festival in Acapulco, Mexico. As you can see, I've got two of the most recognisable faces in the independent media with me, Rudkowski of wearechange.org and Dan Dix of Press for Truth. Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Thanks for having me.
How are we doing?
Excellent. We're in Acapulco, Mexico, so it really can't be that bad.
Yeah, I know, you can't see the image we've got out the left side of the window, it's incredible. So obviously you guys have both done talks and workshops here this weekend and this week. So to people that don't know, what is Acapulco all about? What's the concept? What's the message? And so what's it all about, really?
I mean, we've been down here for 5 years now. Ever since it was 120 people at the Copacabana with a rundown elevator that took forever to get into, that was blasting, what was the song?
Copacabana.
Copacabana.
Over
like loud, obnoxiously in your ear, as the non-working elevator was annoying. And it's been growing. It's just a simple idea of peace, love, and anarchy, promoting those three principles, and having speakers who represent those bigger ideas in their own kind of unique ways being expressed here.
Unlike other conferences, though, at Acapulco, you can actually go down to the bar area, you can walk down to the main lobby, and you'll run into all these speakers. So a lot of conferences are cool for going to watch these speakers, but this one is especially cool for the other times where you get to hang with these guys by the pool or by the bar, and get into those more deep conversations. That's what's special about it.
Yeah, I mean, what I've found fascinating is similar with the events that we do is the diversity of people here. You've got people of all ages, backgrounds, races, religions. It's quite fascinating. I think it's something quite beautiful about lots of different people from lots of different backgrounds that have one thing that unites them, and that's a common interest in the truth and knowledge and so on. And it's quite cool having so many different people in one place. The energy is really cool.
Well, you never know who you're gonna run into. It's like, oh, here's a weird dude with crazy butt moon coin that's gonna revolutionize the way that people see the moon. A lot of unique individuals here with the hippies, the business types, the Bitcoin types, the libertarian types, the anarchist types, there's even some, very few of the lefty kind of social aspects as well, but most of the important thing here is everyone is very respectful of each other here. There's kids running around free, playing, having fun, and it's really just a different kind of environment, a different kind of vibe, different kind of energy that you really don't find prevalent in a lot of other kind of regular societies. It's very, very, very unique to be a part of this kind of conference. And
regardless of the varying ideologies and philosophies and ideas about what we need to do, the common ground here everybody has is a want for individual freedom, a want for liberty, a want from freedom from government oppression. So meeting with like-minded people who you can talk to about those sorts of things and not get some sort of glossy-eyed look from the other person you're talking to is a real beautiful thing.
There's one strange guy here, though, that thinks that his father's top-level CIA, who makes all the movies about him. There's one weirdo. There's always some kind of weirdo. There's always someone to misrepresent everything. But even then, people are like, yeah, the guy's weird. All right, whatever.
I had an email from a guy who said he was trying to scale the fence to get in, and the police stopped him.
Here? Last night.
This was Tuesday morning, I think.
On the way to the dinner, some guy walks up to Jeff and he says he's a salmon dealer. He brought like a couple 100 pounds of salmon, and do you want to buy some salmon?
Is that the salmon that we ate last night?
I don't know. It might be. Jeff's like, what? You have salmon on you?
It attracts all sorts, doesn't it? And one thing I've found fascinating, I've really enjoyed this week, is because the independent media and the alternative information is so diverse, from cryptocurrencies to libertarians, anarchists, as you say, different speakers on so many different topics, you learn so many things you've never heard before. So I think a lot of people have got their area they're interested in, whether it be cryptocurrencies, the conspiracy, healthcare, and extra reality. But in a conference like this, there's speakers on every topic you can imagine.
Yeah.
There used to be more hippies last year, but there's still a little resonance aspect of it. I'm literally drinking anarchy juice of like apple, lemon, ginger, and there used to be a health and wellness week that's missing this year. I actually talked to Jeff. We're going to be kind of bringing that back, but even last year was even more kind of dynamic, more crazier, like bonfires, with more yoga classes with cacao ceremonies and all the a lot of the health and wellness stuff to really make yourself the kind of best kind of person you could be with the vast amount of information that you could possibly conceive in one particular place about all aspects of life. And I really found the health aspects very, very useful, very important, as well as the financial aspects, which kind of dominated this year. But there's always this kind of cohesion that's going to be, we're trying to kind of keep here when it comes to this kind of like, you could call it hippie, but more kind of open-minded, all around sphere. It was interesting because Jeff also does the Dollar Vigilante Summit, which is a financial summit where they give kind of, they're kind of branded as, the alternative to the dollars. This is what you invest in, and predominantly all the speakers were like, money's not going to make you happy. I know you guys here want a lot of money, but that's not going to bring you true happiness at all, and you need to start looking at these things and have a fulfilling life where you actually give people value, and then things will actually come into play for you. And that was the overall consensus, which is interesting, and I think overall a good thing to see.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I've really enjoyed learning a lot more about cryptocurrency this week. I knew very little about it before I came here and had my brain fried with just people telling me.
Even before you got here on the plane.
Oh yeah, I sat next to a guy who runs a cryptocurrency show, telling me all about Bitcoin's going to be 200 or 100 grand, I think it was, by 2022. So invest now.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be zero, and it could be a honeypot.
My first time getting into crypto was in Acapulco 5 years ago, 2014. When Roger Ver was there, and we were all sitting around and talking about Bitcoin, and he's like, well, here, I'll give you one, some. And he takes my phone and he uploads the wallet and then transfers it over, and he's like, now you have Bitcoin. And they used to call him the Bitcoin Jesus because he was going around Acapulco doing that to everybody.
Right.
And he basically hit up every single one who was there, and we all got Bitcoin that day, and I was kind of hooked ever since.
How much was Bitcoin then?
Then it was 2014. It was around $600, I believe.
Did you cash out at the right time?
Yes and no. I mean, I've been in for 5 years now, so I've made some gains, and I've had some times where I should have made gains but didn't.
Right.
Yeah, but you'll go through all that. It's a highly volatile market, and you're going to see the ebbs and flows and start to learn, when to sell high, buy low.
It's an unpredictable market.
It's very...
what is it at now? What is it, $3,567 per Bitcoin now?
Yeah, I got given $100 on Wednesday of it.
Yeah. And then did it go down already or up?
No, well, it was...
You can probably check your wallet.
I have it. It was something like $98.50 after the fee, and it's like $99.50 now, so I've made $1 in 3 days.
Okay, there you go.
Well, I make $1 every 3 days. It's going to be worth it in a bit of time.
Or you just lose all of it tomorrow. But yeah, that's the unpredictable aspect of it.
Yeah.
But it's the Wild West. It's still figuring itself out. It gives people a lot of opportunities, and it also takes away a lot of opportunities from people, and it's very, very difficult to correctly kind of predict where this whole market is going.
Yeah, no, for me, I think it's an add-on. It's not a thing to define it by, if you like.
It's a plan B.
Yeah, it's an insurance policy.
It's a bootleg insurance policy that you get down the block from in the hallway of some ghetto place. If anything bad happens, you got my back. He's like, yeah, I got your back. And, but again, it could also be like huge as well, which I enjoy that kind of unpredictable aspect of it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. The next couple of years are going to be fascinating with it, which as it gets even more high profile. Mm-hmm. Media attention obviously has a factor on where it goes to an extent. Mm-hmm. And as more and more businesses start to accept it, obviously that's going to make it more and more mainstream, more and more people interested in it. People will see it as a safer investment.
Yeah, well, when the mass adoption happens, you get what's called FUD, all of a sudden, the fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And that's when you see those parabolic rises. And yeah, I think we're going to see one again. But I honestly thought we would have been in a bull market already by now, so it's so unpredictable. It looks like we might be in this next bear run for another year or two. Who knows?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. A year and a half, still continuing with this kind of downtrodden market, which people are calling, because obviously it was at a high of what was it, 20K?
20,000 December.
And then it goes down dramatically, and then obviously we have bigger players like Jamie Dimon, Goldman Sachs, Chase Manhattan, and a lot of the other kind of
JP Morgan just launched their own crypto coin.
Yeah. There's a lot of other bigger negative players. The Venezuelan government, The Russian government also
Russia
getting involved into crypto as well.
Facebook's looking into it.
It's just very simple. Yeah. Facebook also wants to do their own coin. I can only imagine what they're going to do with that. Horrible entity.
Censor coin.
What would be the worst thing Facebook could do with its own coin? It's like, what would be the use? It's like, buy your freedom and privacy right now.
Yeah, really.
give us 20 Facebook tokens, and we won't sell your data to the CIA.
Exactly.
See, that's one thing that concerns me about it. If you've got these big companies getting involved, getting interested in it, is it, as you said, a honey trap?
It's a double-edged sword, just like any technology, and it's a technological advancement, just like the internet. You could use the internet for pornography and fry your brain, or you could use the internet for knowledge and information and to learn a new trade. It all depends on how you use it, and that is being determined by the people who use it. So if you use it for good purposes, you're a part of the bigger fight here that is happening right now. That is, I think, overall a good thing.
Let's not forget, it could still be a Trojan horse. I mean, I've always said, people like the Rothschilds and people who have been working for not just decades, centuries, to set up their centralized banking system and their program of fiat lending, they're not just going to allow something like crypto and Bitcoin to just come along and crash this thing that they've built over centuries. So I used to think, is this a Trojan horse? Is this a way to get us into the cashless society, the digital cashless society, but freedom-minded, libertarian-minded, truth-loving people who are being duped into thinking this is the answer? I'm still very leery of that.
Yeah, always be skeptical of everything. Don't trust anybody, especially something that's been created anonymously by someone we don't know. That is, again, also a huge potential for centralization and control. When we look at Bitcoin, we have to understand it's not a privacy-enabling device, that particular coin, Bitcoin. When we look at other cryptocurrencies and the blockchain technology, it can be made anonymous and can be made for privacy reasons, but the aspect of knowing where every single bit goes, where and how, and having a public ledger brings a lot of accountability, but also a lot of authority of people to track you and know everything that you're doing and who you're doing it with as well. So you have to be extremely careful and extremely vigilant and smart. But I think it's a game worth playing, and it's a game worth trying to steer in the right direction. Because one thing that's a bigger truth here is that blockchain technology is a technology that's still developing, it's still in its baby phases, and it's not going away anytime soon.
No, I think it's just, when you're in the independent media, you're always questioning of everything. You never kind of go with everything full scale, do you?
I just want to add one more point. Again, there's always an important aspect here, because as an alternative media, we're getting screwed. Dan's getting screwed. You're probably getting screwed. Your dad's probably getting screwed. Everybody's getting screwed for demonetization, algorithm changes. They're taking away our ability to make a living, which we used to be able to make a living and be okay and be somewhat comfortable. Now we're very uncomfortable, kind of being like, okay, where's the next paycheck, because they're taking away from us, even though we're not changing up anything and having more views than ever. And cryptocurrencies have been a very important step to sustain independent media, support independent media, and it's a catch-22. That's a very interesting one, because John McCain and the U.S. kind of intelligence services a couple of years ago launched a massive attack on Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, going after MasterCard, Visa, all the payment processors, PayPal, and took down his entire ability to raise funds online through fiat. Julian Assange, a couple of years ago, went with cryptocurrencies. You want to donate to me? Donate with Bitcoin, with Litecoin, with this coin and that coin. Set up a bunch of addresses. And this was when Bitcoin was still at very, very low numbers. And literally, Julian Assange, with the people who invested to him, rose to incredible wealth because of John McCain and the U.S. intelligence services getting rid of their payment processors with fiat. Him moving to crypto made him enormously rich. And I remember WikiLeaks and Julian Assange kind of tweeting about it when Julian Assange still has access, being like, yeah, remember when they kicked me off? I thought it was horrible. Now I'm doing really well. So that's a story that I think is very representative of the whole technology.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of those you just got to keep an open mind on both sides about.
And look for the positive in all these situations. You know, like when I got purged from Facebook, it was the same thing. At first, I was like, oh man, this sucks. 350,000 people gone. But then I was like, wait a minute. This is a blessing in disguise. Facebook is spying and tracking and tracing everything. Like, you know what? I'm better off, you know, being off that platform anyways.
Yeah, again, that's a double-edged sword there, because it can be a very good marketing tool to reach lots of people. Because a lot of the new old blockchain sites, you know, your Steemits and so on, and Gab and things like that, they've not got the viewers, and they've also the type of people that are on those sites, people that are probably already interested in alternative information.
That's the problem. You don't want to be preaching to the choir. You don't want to be stuck in a little ideological echo chamber. So that is a problem, but that's why we need to migrate people over to these new ones. You know.
Well, that's where I think the more and more content that goes on these new platforms, especially take yourself, no one's going to see anything you do on Facebook now because you're not there. So if they want to see you, they have to go to these places. The more and more people with large followings that do that, naturally, people are going to migrate over. I mean, weren't you telling me, Luke, about, is it Jordan Peterson's moved over to a new platform?
Yeah.
I mean, how many people will he bring over?
Bit that too, but again, it's still very small. I think we need a double kind of pronged approach here. And it's a catch-22 because if we look at Facebook and Google, they're pretty much like the Federal Reserve. They're like the bigger financial institutions that can artificially inflate and have artificially inflated their popularity, their numbers. And if they really would even go down, I don't think we would even know about it because they have preventative measures and unfair advantages to make sure that they don't go down. That's another aspect that we have to utilize and understand here. And a bigger aspect also is that governments use sock puppets and fake accounts on social media to sway public opinion. That's another big kind of paradigm shifter that people need to realize, because they want to hide the fact that there's more people who believe the basic simple ideas of peace, love, and prosperity and anarchy than they would want you to know about. And that's how they psychologically kind of manipulate us.
Back to your point about migrating onto platforms, here's an interesting thing I just heard. PewDiePie, who has apparently the viewership of all, you know, CNN, Fox, CNN, NBC, all these guys combined together, is planning on launching his own platform. And if he moves off of YouTube, if somebody like him does it, moves off of YouTube, that could be a game changer. That could be the MySpace moment, you know.
It could be. He's been treated awfully.
Did he really say that? What did he say? Do you remember? Or could we look it up?
No, we have to. You can't quote me, but yeah, he's apparently working on it on the back end, and
that would be huge.
Anyways, I don't know if it's true or not, but if somebody like him does that, that could be a game changer.
It could. I mean, there was a story a couple of weeks ago from an ex-Harvard student that was there, Zuckerberg was there, that was saying that at least half of Facebook accounts are fake anyway.
Yeah, same with Twitter accounts, and the U.S. State Department has even been caught spending taxpayer money on fake followers, like to look popular. Like, imagine that. Get your head around that. They're taking your money that you work hard for, taking it and buying fake likes and fake followers to make them seem more legitimate. That's a huge waste of money, and people should be pissed off and up in arms.
It's actually a weapon to target people too.
I think if you look at it the other way around, though, the fact that they feel they need to do that is confirmation that they clearly are worried about the direction the world's going, and more people are questioning, more and more people aren't buying the lies anymore. And the fact they feel they need to have all these fake accounts to shut down debates, abuse people on particularly Twitter, I've found is the worst of them all for hate and abuse. It's quite a confirmation that, well, guys like you and the independent media are doing something right, because they're getting to far larger numbers of people than was once the case, and they're clearly worried about it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be running around trying to shut down debates, shut down people, demonetize, deplatform, and all that. So I take that as, although it's frustrating, I take that as a compliment in a way.
Yeah, well, it really is a testament to the fact that we're at a fork in the road moment, you know, and this can go either way. You know, they're scrambling right now. They see what's happening. They see the movement. They see the awakening taking place. They see us, you know, coming together and making things happen on the tech side, on the spiritual side, on all sorts of levels. So they're scrambling right now to make sure that they can continue to steer it towards the global government, New World Order agenda that they always had. But we're at that breaking point now where we're going to look back in history, you know, when our grandparents, and we're going to say, back then, 2019 time-ish, guys, what side were you on, you know? And I just want to make sure I'm on the right side.
Yeah, I really think this is a very pivotal sort of 3 or 4 years where we go from here, the advancement of technology and AI and all those sorts of things, whereas, you know, you see like the virtual reality headsets people have on. I mean, what's that going to be like in 10 years when we're laughing at what it is now?
Yeah.
You know, in the way we look back at Nokia 3310 phones and think, what's that compared to an iPhone 8?
Yeah.
So that's I find that quite frightening in a way.
And that was only just a few years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was a little box you had here, and it's like, oh, you could play Snake.
Yeah.
Not long ago.
Now you could like literally play Grand Theft Auto on like this thing.
Yeah, not long ago, my niece asked me, how on earth did you guys find things without Google Maps?
Yeah.
Like, how'd you get around? I was like, well, they're called maps.
Yeah.
You would buy one at a gas station, and you would map out your route and write down the directions, and
You would find where you have to go.
that's how you would do it.
I know. I remember when I got my first mobile phone. It was only when I first started walking to school. Mine was about 15. Now people have iPhones at 10 years old. They're like
Not even younger.
yeah, like
Yeah.
the monetary side of it for a first like £400-500 phone.
There's an element
It's
of child
mental.
abuse to that too. I would not let an infant with a developing brain
Yeah.
sit
On
in front of that.
Instagram with the dots? Hell no.
Even just the flicker rate of the screen
Yeah,
itself,
the
and
development of the eyes and-
just the radiation, all that stuff.
And
Forget
over
about it.
sexualization and perversion and,
yeah.
and the psychological programming and mind control that happens on there. It's mind control. I mean, mind control is like a word that people are like, how can you say that? But it happens on very, very slow, minimal levels that do add up to a very significant impact. I think we're seeing that so clairvoyantly in our society being represented by the youth of today and how they're acting.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound like an old man. Like, years ago, they threw rocks on my house, and I'm tired of the crappy music that they listen to. But like, when you really do look at it, it's like it's terrifying. Depression's up higher than ever. Anxiety's up higher than ever. What else was the statistic? Overall happiness is down.
It's down, yeah.
Overall empathy is down. Overall, people are sadder and more depressed than ever. Meanwhile, we have more abilities and possibilities in front of us than we ever had before, more abundance than we ever had before, and people are sitting on there watching some ETOT or some roided out loser.
Yeah.
And oh man, I wish I was as happy as they are doing this cool stuff. Meanwhile, the people who are sending out those messages and photos, they're probably the most miserable people out there.
Yeah.
And it's like misery, chasing misery. It's like you guys are idiots stuck in this trap because social media has programmed you and engineered you in a way to have your psychological insecurities, your psychological weaknesses used and taken advantage of and weaponized against you for the better benefit of the ruling elite and the people who want to profit off of you and make money off of you. And the best way to make money off of you is to make you sad and dependent and break up your family and not have a support structure and be on your own, so you need to buy more Chinese slave-made goods to fill the empty hole in your soul from the empty life that you have with no meaning, fulfillment other than just
Dopamine
envy,
hits from clicks and likes.
envy, greed, lust, gluttony. I think I said that right. Gluttony or gluttony?
Gluttony.
There you go. Gluttony and all the other hooey that these social controllers and elites want us to be.
Well, I find Facebook and social media in general very much like, you've seen the film Keeping Up with the Joneses?
No.
Where there's this couple, basically this couple move to a street and there's this couple live next door who are perfect, they do absolutely everything right, they seem like the super couple, both good looking, both rich, etc. And everyone's trying to compete with them to be as good as them and they can't. And I think social media is a lot like that because it's very easy to make it look like you've got the perfect life and everything's sorted out on social media, and people look at that with a jealousy, and I think they then look internally and think, well, I haven't got that, I'm a failure then. And I think young people in particular, particularly young girls for me, are absolutely bombarded with it on social media.
It's such a misrepresentation of real life,
It
really.
is, yeah.
You know, when you get, like in a place like this, with this many people meeting eye to eye, you think any one of us is going to say something rude or mean to our face? No. Nobody's going to do it. But you remove the human element, and you sit there on Twitter. I'm not nobody, but you remove the human element, and all of a sudden it's just a keyboard away to be able to say something mean to somebody, and you do it.
Yeah, there's no accountability, and you have no idea, particularly Twitter, I think, because I think that's the most sort of faceless of them all, in the sense of you don't necessarily have to know anything about the person you're tweeting at or being tweeted
And he's on his social media while we're talking about
he's on
this.
Instagram.
I need my likes, guys. I need my validation. I need to make sure that other people like me for the fake representative image that I'm placing on here. Oh, look at this. Oh, Dan Dick's picture just came right up here. Oh, look, Dan Dick's just finished my talk to a packed room with standing room, really humbled. All these people wanted to come hear what I have to say. I'm lucky to be able to travel and meet so many inspiring people, while at the same time inspiring them to want to make the world a better place. Hashtag blessed. Hashtag press for truth. You got 56 likes.
See, he's doing something mean now.
Yeah.
He's doing it to your face.
You got
He's doing it to your face.
You got 56 likes, and you got 1 heart from Sutton Argudno Gunman.
Well, that makes me feel really good.
So what did you talk about this morning?
The media censorship in a nutshell, but more importantly, how to influence people to become influencers themselves, basically. Right. I think what Ron Paul did was amazing. He inspired millions and millions of people, but what was really cool about it is, of those millions of people he inspired, certain ones of them went on to become their own influential thought leaders. And that's exciting to me. So that I wanted to try to push the importance of that, that message. So
yeah, I think there's a lot of people are looking for other people to do everything. when really it's in terms of picking up a camera, going out, talking to people, getting access to press conferences and stuff. Anyone can do that. That's literally a click away, if you like, from getting what you need to do to be able to do it. And I think empowering people to realise they can do stuff like that themselves is massively important.
Yeah, it's simple. It's all about believing it and not lusting or just coming from a negative paradigm. The way you approach it is really important, and I think that's another bigger kind of conflict that needs to be addressed, because I think schools, the influencers, the people on kind of social media, the people who are really representative that young people look up to, don't teach them that if you need something, you got to work for it, you got to bust your butt for it, you got to earn it, and you have to do it in a way where it's not just handed to you. I think that's a bigger aspect that is becoming more rarer in the day in our society, where people are like, just give me, I want it now, I want it now. I can't tell you how many people I run into, and they're like, okay, yeah, I want to do this and be famous and do that. I'm like, oh gosh, it's actually more of a curse than it is anything else. But in general, like that kind of backbone mentality is being eviscerated, and it's being eviscerated for a person, because if you don't have a backbone, if you don't go after what you want, if you don't work for what you want, social controllers and elites and corporations can take advantage of you a lot easier when you don't have that backbone. So having that backbone, going after what you want and doing it the right way and pushing forward it, and not just complaining and moaning, that's something that I think is key to a bigger solution that is emphasized by the problems we face in our society.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's important to have, good role models in order to be a good role model. In my talk, I talk about the archetypal hero equation, that we all have this. We all have an archetypal hero to which we look up to. Most on a subconscious level.
Yeah, who was yours?
Mine is Jesus. I'm a Christian, so he's my King of Kings. That's my go-to guy.
Number 2.
Number 2, I know you hope it's you, but it's not. Yeah.
No, it's not me, but it's
so anyways, it's about, I tried to explain that if you want true freedom and individual liberty from government, he provided a pretty good example of how to conduct oneself and how to, live one's life in order to attain true individual freedom and oppression from government. So I tried to stress the point that we all have this, whether it's on a subconscious level or not, and it's important for that to be somebody who is a positive role model and somebody who actually lived it and walked it and breathed it. And if you have somebody like that who is a positive role model, then you're going to have a much better chance of becoming somebody like a Ron Paul who can influence other people to become influencers.
Think about number 2, and he also did kick out the bankers. Who's your number 1?
I'd probably go Martin Luther King personally. Because what he did at a time when he knew it was incredibly dangerous for him, and obviously it proved fatal to him in the end. It was going to make him very unpopular with a lot of people, but he knew what was right, and he did what he felt was right in his heart, despite the consequences. And I think that's the biggest power you can do, is even if you know it's going to be detrimental to you, safety-wise, popularity-wise, whatever, you still do what you think's right. I think that's where most people go wrong. I think most people look at situations and think, it's going to affect me in a bad way. I know it's right, but it's going to affect me in a bad way.
Yeah. He would be vilified today.
He would.
Yeah. Martin Luther King was in our society today. being like, hey, we should stop the bigotry and racism on all sides, because that's what made him very prominent. That's what made him as popular as he is, mainly because he was the enemy of the state. He was the enemy of the mainstream media. He was being slandered for messages of like, hey, black people, let's stop hating white people. White people, let's stop hating black people. But he did it in an initial way which wasn't respected by some, where he said, hey guys, let's stop the cycle of hate. Let's stop perpetrating it. Let's stop looking for revenge. Let's turn the other cheek, like Jesus said. And because of that, he was vilified. But if he came out today and he said, hey guys, let's stop attacking white people as well, he would be destroyed.
See, that's the joke,
by the mainstream media.
The Democrats on the left in America, and to an extent the Labour Party on the left, and supposedly on the left in Britain, that would probably think they're the successors of his movement. I mean, can you imagine Cortez would be after Martin Luther King, because he had Cortez in America, she'd be after him immediately.
No. Iman Omar, the congresswoman from Somalia, she even would go after him. Like, she went after the Covington kids incorrectly, talking about how the black Israelites were in the right here, racist, bigoted groups, and those kids were very bad for standing there. It's absolutely ridiculous what's happening there. Number 2. I'm having a hard time thinking mine. That's why I'm switching over to you. I'm going over to you.
We've actually got a couple of questions that we ask at the end, similar topics.
Okay.
So I'll go for them. But just before we finish up, we're going to go and have a wander around and chat to some people and have some lunch and see who comes over. Going back to what Dan was saying a few minutes ago about kind of keep going, stay in power. You guys have obviously been around for a long time now. You know, you've been around about 15 years, I believe. Been around a decade in this arena, and obviously it's taken a long time to build up the followings and build up the responses that you guys get, and I think that's a real testament to the fact that you're clearly doing something that people want, because there's a lot of people that come and go, they'll start a show and it'll disappear after 6 months. They don't necessarily have the staying power to really put the effort in to get it to the level it needs to get to, and obviously in the time you guys have been around, I imagine the landscape in the alternative media has changed a lot. There's been a lot of people come and go, it's a lot bigger now than it was. What's the biggest thing that you guys think has changed in the since you first started, since you made your first video or you wrote your first article to today?
The biggest thing that's changed?
That's changed, whether it's positive or negative, or is it easier now? Is it harder now?
I think one thing, you want to go? Mm-hmm. I think the bigger charlatans, the bigger kind of bad players in this movement, they're finally getting ramifications for their kind of misdeeds and selling people down a river. A lot of the bigger hyperbolic people, I think they're being called out more than ever. Like I'm not even talking about big players. I'm even talking about little players and medium players. There's so many different people, and I don't want to name them by name to start drama and starting the infighting. But a lot of the online community is becoming more hip to people's bullcrap, and they're calling it out sooner. And the changes with the audience have been really, really optimistic, because if you tell the truth, you're good. You bull crap, you lie, you can't hide that. Yeah. You can't hide that at all anymore. You used to be able to.
And it's not only if you're lying, if your intentions are fame and money and these sorts of things, they're going to see right through that. They'll spot a fraud, right away. Those things will come if that's what you really want. But you have to bang it out, you have to slave to the grind first. I remember doing Press for Truth for so long. I started my channel in 2006. I didn't go full-time till 2012. There was a period there where I was banging out solid content and just not getting the views. It just wasn't happening. And I understand how people can get really discouraged when you're putting in a lot of effort, a lot of work, but I stayed consistent. I didn't let the view count bother me, and I kept going like that for years, and then all of a sudden, it started to pick up for me, and all of a sudden it all came together. But so many people get discouraged when they don't get those view counts and they're trying so hard. Like you said, I've seen people come and go in the movement, and I think consistency is key, honesty is key, and you got to question yourself, what am I really into this for? Because if it's for fame and idol worship, hero worship, money, all that stuff, you're into the wrong you're into the wrong thing here, and you're going to be called out as a fraud.
Absolutely. Right, so I'll go with the questions. We've got 3 questions that we ask every guest. So you kind of already answered the first one, which is if you could have a a meal, sit-down meal with anyone living or dead from history, who would that be? Would you go Jesus Christ?
Yeah, we still need your number one.
Jesus is hard to beat.
Living or dead? Yeah, well.
Living or dead. Holy cow.
Depends what type of meal you
That's
want.
good. If you get any dinner with anyone.
If you wanted a comedy night, I'd probably actually go for dinner. I'd probably say Bill Hicks for me.
Yeah.
Bill Hicks would be nice.
Because I think you'd have a decent conversation.
Yeah, George Carlin was awesome. Bill Hicks was really awesome. A big inspiration as well. Loved Bill Hicks and everything he did.
Yeah, he died far too young.
Yeah. Lung cancer of all things.
Something like that. It was quite quick as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, very quick. Hold on, get back to me. What do you think about this?
If an alien race land on Earth and you're the first person they come to, and they said, take me to your leader, who would you take them to?
Paris Hilton.
Wow.
Kim Kardashian.
Take me to your leader. I don't know.
Kanye West.
Certainly wouldn't be a government, any kind of politician or government agency or anyone. I would probably advise them to stay away from the leaders. I'd be like, oh no, you don't want to do that. Yeah.
We've had some interesting answers. Most people have said either Merkel or Putin that we've spoken to. Putin I'd get to an extent. But
yeah.
Merkel, I wouldn't take her anywhere.
I would be interested to have lunch with Putin.
Yeah, same.
I would grill him and question him on so many different things.
I'd love to know how much he knows, because it's one of those things, he does quite a lot that pisses off the Americans and the sort of the neocons, but then he, would you really, is he really going to still be there if he's a complete maverick? I don't think he would be. So I don't know, it's one of those. Here's the last question. I just forgot what it was for a second. It's because Gareth normally does this one. Right, okay, so obviously as an American, as a Canadian, you've just been elected President of Canada.
Prime Minister.
Prime Minister of Canada, sorry, Trudeau. You're about to walk out for your inauguration. What song would you want to walk out to?
Oh, wow, I'm going to have to think about that one for a sec. Maybe that, why can't we be friends?
I'm trying to think of this. You put me on the spot.
If you're taking over from Trump.
A really horrible Papa Roach song. What was the name of it? Oh, We Are the Renegades?
Right, cool.
The Renegades, I forgot the title of the song. We Are Renegades or something.
Right. You nicked our film title.
Okay. Well, there's a song that's really, really, the lyrics are pretty cheesy, but resonate with me.
Right, thanks for joining us, guys. We're going to go and chat to some other people and see what goes on. Right, we'll add that as a second video, so this will be a one on its own. Thanks for joining us, and we'll speak to you very soon. Take care. Bye for now.